Formula One announces the 2026 Sprint Grand Prix race weekends for 2026. And I tell you what, we've got 3 new venues as opposed to the 2025 season, and we're going to get right into it. First of all, your thoughts on the sprint. Let me know what your thoughts are on sprint weekends. They've kept it to 6 this season, which is very interesting, for next season rather, which is quite interesting. We still have a 24 race calendar season, and only 6 of those are going to be sprint race weekends. Now, I don't know where I stand on sprint weekends. One weekend, I'm like, yes, I'm all for more action in Formula One. And on the other hand, I'm a bit like, I really don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to do or what to say or how to feel regarding these sprint weekends. So let's dive right in now into the actual 6 venues that we'll be visiting in 2026 for the Formula One calendar season. And we do kick things off in Shanghai like we did in 2025. The Chinese Grand Prix will be resuming with hosting the sprint weekend. Now, I don't know what you guys think about this. I think China was actually a very decent race weekend, right? And you know, seeing seeing Lewis Hamilton, what's wrong with me? Seeing Lewis Hamilton on the top step of that, you know, getting a sprint pole, winning the Grand Prix, it was actually quite bizarre, quite strange. Start of the season, something to get us in the fields. And you know, if you were to say to me that this is how we're going to be having sprint weekends throughout the course of the season, this would be something that we would all love to see. So China having its place back, fair enough. Miami Grand Prix has got its place as well. Now, Miami is a very strange circuit. It's not the greatest of Grand Prix action, it must be said, but they need something to spice that circuit up. And I think a sprint weekend at least, you know, might give it something, you know. And the other thing you have to concern yourself with is the whole parc ferme rule business, right? The fact that if you can change your car, if you can adapt your car after the sprint weekend or the sprint day, for example, then we can get a bit of a mixture of what's going to take place. Because many times the sprint weekend, the problem that you have is that Friday and Saturday, you kind of know what's going to happen on Sunday. And we don't want to be knowing what Formula One is doing. We don't want Formula One to be predictable. We want it to be exciting. We want it to be unpredictable. We want it to be thrilling. We want it to be entertaining. So as long as we're able to, you know, teams are able to adapt and adjust and change, because they only get one practice session, right? And that's kind of cool because teams don't know what to do with themselves with just one practice session, depending on the circuit as well, depending where they are in the Grand Prix. We've got Canada, Montreal, one of my favorite circuits in Formula One. I cannot believe that they are doing a Grand Prix there. That is going to be sensational. A sprint weekend in Canada is going to be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see what that has to offer. It's a fast circuit. It is going to be action-packed. One of the great circuits on the Formula One calendar. Do you know another great circuit? Silverstone. Yes, Silverstone will be having a sprint weekend. Look, it is good the Silverstone circuit is already a great entertaining race weekend, right? I'm not just giving it British bias, but it's a phenomenal circuit. It's great. It's full of action. It's jam-packed. And we get to experience the sprint as well as the one practice session. As I say, the one practice sessions really throws people off because they don't know what to do. They don't know what they've learned in just one session. And this is what adds to the excitement and to the brilliance and to the unpredictability of what can happen in a race weekend. So seeing Silverstone there as well is pretty entertaining. Now Zandvoort is there next season, right? And Zandvoort was a weird one because this year Zandvoort was actually quite entertaining in general. Zandvoort hasn't been that entertaining in previous years, but this year it was actually really good. And I think, you know what, fair play. Like if they can, let's see what Zandvoort has to offer, because it kind of redeemed itself in 2025 in regards to the entertaining aspect of a Formula One race. Just good racing, good quality racing. It was good to see in Zandvoort. And we got Singapore as well. Singapore is also going to have a sprint weekend. Again, Singapore is one of those circuits where it's an unpredictable circuit. Sometimes, you know, we get a new winner, we get a different winner in the course of a Formula One race calendar season. And I'm intrigued just to see what a one practice session will do for certain teams. This is the only race at night that's got a sprint weekend. So I'm intrigued to know and see like how will teams adapt, how will teams cope with all of this. And you know what, sprint weekends, love them or hate them, they've added something different to the mix. My honest opinion, I think the sprint race themselves are a bit too long, because they do about like, let's say 17 laps of a normal race, and I get to like about lap 12, 13, 14 where I'm a bit just like bored of it all. And then sometimes I'm just like, okay, like for a Formula One race day, you kind of go through ups and downs on the race day itself when there's like 50, 60, 70 laps. And when the sprint ends, it's almost like, oh, right, okay, it kind of abruptly ends in a weird way after you feel like you've now set me in for the long haul, and then it shuts down. Whereas I feel like if it's a real sprint, like 10 laps, we get 10 laps of just carnage, action, jam-packed, let's go. I think that's where the sprints will be much better. That's just my opinion on it. I've always felt like to call it a sprint, it has to be short. And I feel like they're between short and middle. So you have a long race, then you have a middle race, but then it's between short and middle. I think it should just be short. Leave it as it is. Leave it as a sprint. Because these guys as well, after a sprint race, they go and do qualifying later that day for the Sunday race, which I find incredible for these athletes to do. Listen, these are world-class athletes of the highest level. Let's have it right. I'll tell you what's interesting to point out, though. This is going to be in 2026, but this means it's going to be under new regulations. So the sprint weekends that you know now, I think you got to take it with a pinch of salt next season. I think we're going to get a real shift, a real shake-up into what sprint weekends might look like next season. I think next season there was going to be completely, of the fact that the cars are going to be so brand new, everything's going to be completely remodified, and we don't quite know. I mean, the first sprint, as I said, is in China, which is in March, around the March period. That's when Formula One starts. So we're going to be early doors into the brand new regulations when teams will kind of still be figuring things out, will still be feeling a few things out with their cars. And then having that one practice session is going to throw all kinds of mischief going on. I'm actually looking quite excited because of the fact that there's actually brand new regulations. I think this is really important that we're entering a new era of Formula One with this sprint weekends. And I think just in case you think that the sprint weekends that you've got in your mind now based on 2025, 24, 23 season, I would not take all of that with you into 2026. I think 2026 is going to give us a brand new look on things. Like, I think it's going to bring us a brand new scope on everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to offer in terms of these sprint weekends. And I just hope that we get something fresh and new. Whether they should extend the sprints, I don't know, because 6 feels awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you got 24 races and you said half of them are sprints, it would be like, I could see the reasoning and the logic behind that. But there's so much that goes into a sprint weekend. Like, if you expect teams to be doing the mileage on these engines, the amount of work, the logistics and everything like that, the staff that are working behind these teams, including also the Formula One organization, the FIA as well. Like, there's a lot of people involved and there's a lot of things that would have to be done. And so it's just not black and white. You can just say, yeah, let's just make it, let's make it 12 races out of 24 or make it 24 races out of 24. Like, I don't think we'll ever get down to that road of 24 races being sprints. But I know Stefano Domenicali's giving it the big one about, like, people have short attention spans. People don't like long races. People don't like this, that, and the other. And I wasn't necessarily against the whole Formula One race being an hour, for example, but I think the minute you start to change certain traditions of certain sports, I think you start to lose the sport entirely. And I don't think, as much as I would like races to be shorter just because I can get more content out, at the same time, like, you got to, Formula One having that 1 hour and a half and whatever else, safety car dependent or weather dependent red flags, I think you got to keep it as it is. I don't know if Stefano Domenicali's like kind of, just trying to appease to the younger crowd and trying to get a much younger audience. Listen, it's all good to have a younger audience. It's great to keep the audience that you've built over the years, because even the old school audience, the older heads, and I consider myself as one of them, have watched Formula One 20, 30 years and whatever else, right? So you want to keep those people that were there all that long ago. And the sport is getting better. The sport has enhanced. And, the sport as a whole has gone through the roof. It's gargantuan now. So don't take that away from those that were in the beginning of it growing so exponentially. So yeah, listen, the sprint weekend is going to be very interesting next season. I'm looking forward to some of these circuits. I'm looking forward to Canada for sure. I'm looking forward to Singapore and Silverstone as well. So yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be entertaining to see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and let me know if you are a fan of sprints, and if you're not, let me know why. But yeah, that the 2026 Formula One calendar has come out. The sprint races have now been allocated. So we're going to look forward to the 2026 Formula One season. YouTube thinks you'll like this video over here, so make sure you go ahead and click on that. And until next time, lights out.